I don't think I could have asked for a better Sunday noon brunch, lunch, whatever you want to call it. The Pony Express is back in business. SMU over Bama in the college football playoff, and rightfully so. You should not be punished severely for making the college football playoff. If the college football playoff committee wanted to give Bama that chance, then they would have had Alabama over SMU going into the weekend. And then you'd be able to justify Bama going in. But the committee already put themselves in a very, very tough situation. And there was just no way for Bama to make that comeback outside of if Clemson continued to just demolish SMU in the second half as they did in the first. But SMU came roaring back, got the victory. Well, they didn't get the victory, but they had the lead. They had a lead in the last final minutes of the game, final seconds of the game. But a 56-yard field goal sends Clemson into the playoff. Here's the bracket. Here's the bracket. For those on podcast, you have the 12 and the 5, Clemson on the road to Texas, Tennessee in the Horseshoe to face Ohio State, SMU in Happy Valley to play Penn State, and then the Battle of Indiana, the Hoosiers and the Irish, with Oregon being the 1 seed, Georgia in the 2, Boise at the 3, and Arizona State at the 4. So, I want you to take a very close look at this bracket because, as we saw on Saturday night, oh yeah, cookie math. Yeah, got that read. It's all about numbers. Yeah, I already messed that up. Anyway, yeah, get yourself some cookies. They're really good. I'm qualified. I'm a big guy. I'm qualified to tell you that these are good cookies, and some of the proceeds go to helping kids learn math. And hopefully one day these smart kids will be on the college football committee and they can actually put some real numbers together and get it right more times than not. This year they got it right, but it's not always the case. So make sure to buy a box of cookies, and hopefully those kids that are learning math from some of the proceeds get on the college football committee. That way they have the critical thinking to put the right teams in each and every single week. How about that for a save? I like that. I like that. Anyway, yeah, where were we? Yeah, Penn State, Oregon. So Oregon, they win the Big Ten in their maiden voyage in their first contest, and their prize for winning the Big Ten is getting the 1 seed, which in normal universes gives you the easiest path to the national championship. Well, let's take a look back at that bracket. So Oregon is going to be facing the winner of Tennessee Ohio State on a neutral field in the Rose Bowl. And then they have Texas. More than likely they will have Texas today. Yeah, that is murderer's row. That's a tough road to go. While Penn State, their semifinals and the semifinals in front of them is SMU, which SMU, it's a good team. It's just a bad matchup for SMU and a bad location. Pennsylvania in late December, it's especially with an air raid style team like SMU. It's a bad matchup for the Mustangs. And then Boise State, in a neutral field. I think it's the Fiesta Bowl. I could be wrong. But a neutral field nonetheless, where Penn State has the talent advantage. And then they'll finally play somebody, Georgia, who will more than likely, and again, haven't seen any reports on the health of Carson Beck's arm. They, Penn State, will have either Notre Dame, who I question how good they are, Indiana, who's just not as talented, or Georgia, who is more than likely down to their backup quarterback. So Penn State loses, and they are rewarded with the easier path. Think about that for a minute. Only in college, how in the world, in college football, do you get rewarded like that for losing your conference championship? My biggest fear was someone getting severely punished for losing the conference title. And in this case, why in the world would you go out and want to win and get that 1 seed? And now with Texas and Georgia, situation was flipped. And that was the one I was focusing on in my preview last week. Because now Texas, their road isn't as tough as what was laid out for Georgia week prior, but you still have to play a very game Clemson team, a hot Arizona State team, and then either Oregon, Tennessee, or Ohio State. That is what is in front of Texas. And Tennessee, Oregon, and Ohio State, they have a gauntlet. There is no gimmies. No gimmies. They're in a dogfight with Tennessee, Ohio State, and Tennessee. They're in a dogfight, and to go to another dogfight with Oregon, to another dogfight with Texas. This top part of the bracket is the definition of Murderer's Row, especially the 9-8, the 9-8 route. So, yeah, there's some procedural things that need to change, and that is something that you would expect the college football committee to know, but they didn't, because college football has a weird way of never thinking more than 10 minutes ahead. They never do. And this is blatantly obvious that they did not think things through. They just wanted to get to the 12, get them more money, and blah 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 blah. And here we are. Now, those complaining about SMU getting in over Alabama because of the schedule or the strength of the schedule, just stop. You don't lose to a 6-6 Oklahoma team by 21 points. That is unforgivable. And you can't be losing to Vanderbilt either. That is a home game for everybody except Vanderbilt. I remember tuning in. It was Georgia on the road against Vanderbilt. And that stadium was red. It was red and black. Not a Vanderbilt fan to be found. And it was a very similar situation, I'm pretty sure, with Alabama Vanderbilt this year. And Alabama lost. You cannot be losing those games and expect to get in. And because of that, they are out and they are playing Michigan in Tampa, Florida. I believe it's Tampa or Orlando. One of those two. Either way, they're in a game that doesn't matter. And they can thank Vandy and OU for that. But they got the best wins. Yeah. So you got the most ugliest loss. Congratulations. Next. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple of years, well, hopefully by next year, they get this rectified and do more of an NFL style playoff where the one seed plays the lowest seed remaining, and then the second gets to the second lowest, so on and so forth. Because this cannot happen at all whatsoever. Now, with the ACC title game, hey, it was laid out on what needed to happen for Clemson, and Clemson jumped out to a 24-7 lead and nearly it took a incredible kick return and an insane 56-yard field goal to win the game. It took all of that to beat SMU by 3 in Charlotte. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the definition of incredible. That's SMU was very game, and this isn't the normal slouch SMU team that you have seen in the past. This is a new era of Mustang football, and they're going to be around for a while. They're showing it time and time and time again. And yeah, they don't have that big quality win on the schedule. But then again, Bama's only claim to fame is they beat Georgia at home at the beginning of Beck's descent. Congratulations. And Texas, what was their big win? Why are they considered good? They played they've had 2 big games and lost them both. But they beat Texas A&M. Oh, gee. Give me a break. Texas A&M. They lost to Notre Dame, who lost to Northern Illinois like 7 days later. Give me a break. Now, this game between Georgia and Texas, I don't know. I don't even know what to say to this game. I was not feeling good when they got to overtime because I knew that's when I knew Georgia was gonna have to put this away quickly if they were gonna win. If this got extended out to several overtimes, Georgia would be in serious trouble. Just because they just went through an 8 overtime war 8 days prior, and having that extra time off, if given a bye, would have been crucial. Now, what's interesting here is take a look at those passing stats. Gunnar Stockton, 12 of 16, 75% completion percentage, 75 yards, 4.4 yards per attempt, which is still insanely low. I mean, he ran more efficiently. It was far more efficient. I mean, I think Carson Beck was about ready to have that second half surge like he tends to do at times. That would fit the mold. But hey, it was Gunnar Stockton's. Played well. It's from the way that it sounds, he's likely to get that opportunity here in the playoff to see what he can do. and he'll have a very the it could potentially be a interesting matchup. Uh, Notre Dame is going to be a good matchup for Georgia. That's the matchup that you're wanting if you're a Georgia fan, because because of the matchups, Georgia matches up very well with Notre Dame. Notre Dame tends their big strength is power and rushing, and Georgia does that better. Well, Georgia's rush defense does that way better. Whereas Indiana, they'll throw it all around the yard, and we saw a few times in that SEC title game the the secondary get cooked, but bailed out by several things. So that's the matchup that you're looking for if you're a Dogs fan. For Boise, you're hoping for that upset. SMU is a better team to handle. You want that Pony Express magic to happen just one last time. Because Penn State, they're just the more talented team all around. Um there's a solid chance that James Franklin ends up doing what James Franklin does best and begins to choke when the lights are the brightest. That that is definitely a possibility and probably what you're hoping for. If you are a fan of the Mustangs or a fan of the Broncos. Now, Oregon, Tennessee, and Ohio State, that is that's a pick your poison. Tennessee, a lot more physical, a lot rougher, a lot tougher. Ohio State, a lot very difficult to handle on the outside. So i- typically, you want the team that struggles to run the ball. Also, you have just an absolute psychotic ward, like insane asylum situation going on with Ohio State because of the loss to Michigan. And who knows how the horseshoe is going to be dealing with that, because for the first time ever, Ohio State's going to be playing a game after Michigan in the horseshoe. So we're going to be seeing that's going to be an interesting thing to see. And we'll see how the Buckeye faithful welcome welcome their beloved team, whether it be with open arms or pitchforks. Who knows? My guess is as good as yours. And then if you are Arizona State, you want that Tiger magic one final time, even though it's not likely to happen, but that is something that we will talk about here over the next few weeks. Plenty of time to talk about that. But Texas, for Arizona State, you're just you're just waiting for Texas to come along, see what kind of fight you can put up, and then move on. Had a good run, had a good year. Maybe there's a little bit of fight. Maybe there's a that hot streak continues, but you know, sometimes fairy tales don't have the greatest ending. But yeah, that is what I got for you here. Make sure to like the video, like the X post, like the video on Rumble, like, follow, subscribe, download the podcast, give the podcast a 5-star rating, and we will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.